And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livingintheblack.com. My name is Katie O'Wado, aka The Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific Time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you, and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Monday, the 8th day of September, 2025 in the Gregorian calendar, the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6266 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. Let me tell you what we have on store for you today on your LIB radio network. I don't know how many of you got a chance to see the extensive military parade that was held on September 3rd in Tiananmen Square in the People's Republic of China. But that's going to be our topic for today. We're going to break that down, and hopefully you and I will understand it so much more. Let me give you the introduction to today's program. China's military technology on parade. Today we take the time to bear with me here. I got to get this centered on my screen. Today we take the time to put into context the September 3rd military parade in Tiananmen Square, in China's Tiananmen Square. During the first major military parade in 6 years, the nation displayed advances in its long-running military modernization that stunned the world. Many pundits are now saying that advances in China's weaponry, the precision of its fighting units, and communications capacity signal that the nation has become the unchallengeable rival to the United States. We examine these changes from a distinctly Pan-African point of analysis, and that's a very important point. This is a Pan-African analysis. So this is not taking sides with China or China's major rival, United States, although I doubt if anyone is going to not detect that my own perspective on all of this does bias towards a balancing of these forces that are rising up in the world. So let's get right into the topic. I do welcome all of you in our listening audience. Do participate if you will. We'd love to hear from you. Are you in the house? Are you in the house today? I bet you are. Let me know, and do announce yourself. Are you in the house today? And I'm going to turn off that caps key. Let's go forward. Oh, one more button I have to push, which gives me the ability to look a little bit better here. I have a green screen. Yes, I do. That makes my head a little bit less green around the edges. And bear with me. I'm sorry for the fuzzy nature of the picture today. I'm going to do the best I can to make sure it doesn't fuzz out. And to do that, I'll just have to turn off a few of these buttons, a few of these links in the background. Bear with me as we go into today's topic for LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. Here we go. Where we at? Which is my screen. I'm reading from China displayed a range of disruptive military technologies during its massive military parade on September 3rd 2025, commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II in Asia. And that was they termed it the battle against Japanese invasion and the Axis empires, or something like that. They have a different title for it. We in this nation, we call it World War II. Obviously, from China's perspective, it was a different set of battles, very clarified in the Chinese title for these battles. The event showcased advanced capabilities, including hypersonic missiles, a new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile, the DF-5C, laser weapons, AI-powered drones, and large underwater drones. All of this signifying a significant leap in its military modernization and global strike potential. So, looking at the particular hardware, let's take a look. I have a short video queued up, and let's take a look at this video right now. I'm going to add this video to the stage, and let's go through this video. It lasts just about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less, and we'll comment after we have seen this short video from China. Here we go. right? And I find it very interesting that at the close of the military parade, they displayed, I think it was 8,000 peace doves, as well as a significant number of balloons were released into the air, signaling peace among the nations. And the intention that China has openly stated multiple times, the intention of this military modernization is not to be offensive in the world, not to colonize those nations that as late as 80 years ago had colonized China, had been attacking China, and to this date, the status of China and Taiwan remains in question. Not to retaliate against the Japanese, even though looking closely there is still a significant amount of hostility between the Chinese people and the Japanese nation over the role of Japan, the nation, not the people, the role of the Japanese nation in the rape of Nanking and the colonization of China, various parts of China. Japan did China very, very awful during World War II, testing biological weapons, chemical weapons, atrocities of all kinds of sorts, including mass rape programs against not only Chinese women, but also massive rape against the Korean South, or the Korean women, the so-called comfort girls. So there still is a lot of resentment going on there from the people's perspective, from what they experience. But I'm focusing today specifically on the military hardware and what this means in the world today. We're going to talk a little bit later about some of China's mega projects and their whole Chinese attitude toward technology and construction and invention, innovation. It's really quite amazing. And we must remember almost all of these developments have taken place in the last 50 years. From about 1982, during the presidency of Deng Xiaoping and the opening up of China, to integrating capitalism in the modern Chinese economic system. This is all very important, especially from a Pan-African point of view. Africa should be able to achieve what China has achieved within the next 50 years. It is my intention to do what I can do to help Africa to move forward. And all of that to say this: amongst the many military hardware that were displayed during this parade, number one, hypersonic and anti-ship missiles. China unveiled new hypersonic anti-ship missiles, such as the YJ-15, YJ-17, YJ-19, and YJ-20, which are capable of being launched from land, sea, and air, and pose a significant threat to U.S. and allied naval forces in East Asia. That's very important now, with so much tension going on over the Taiwan Straits. Number two, laser weapons. The LY-1 laser weapon, mounted on an HZ-155 armored truck, was displayed and designed to disable enemy optical sensors, potentially reshaping maritime warfare. Number three, AI-powered drones and loyal wingmen, quote unquote. The parade featured AI-driven stealth attack drones capable of flying alongside the manned fighter jets, as well as the GJ-11 and CS-5000T models, demonstrating China's integration of artificial intelligence into combat systems. Number four, underwater and ground robotics. The AJX-002 giant submarine drone, capable of operating up to 20 meters underwater and four-legged robotic wolf dogs or wolf drones for reconnaissance and precision strikes were unveiled, highlighting advancements in unmanned systems. Number 5, nuclear triad and advanced missiles. For the first time, China showcased its complete land, sea, and air nuclear triad, including the DF-5C intercontinental ballistic missile, the JL-3 submarine-launched missile, and DF-61 intercontinental ballistic missile, demonstrating a full spectrum of strategic nuclear delivery systems. And number 6, stealth and advanced platforms. 5 models of China's 5th generation stealth fighters, the J-20, J-20A, J-20S, J-35A, and J-35, flew in formation while the Type 99B main battle tank, featuring an unmanned turret and augmented reality systems, made its debut. And on this main battle tank that was debuted, there was also the laser system on it as well. So all in all, China's recent military parade was a striking showcase of disruptive technologies that signals a major leap in modern warfare capabilities. Here is a further breakdown of the most notable innovations. And here, 1 second, let me just put a little bit of fluid on the talking box here. Oh, that's so good. AI-powered unmanned systems. China unveiled a range of autonomous drones and vehicles capable of reconnaissance, mine diffusing, squad support, and even mid-air interception. These systems use artificial intelligence for mission planning, sensor interpretation, and adaptive decision making. Next generation stealth fighters. The J-35 stealth fighter made its debut, featuring a low observable design, advanced avionics, and a large internal weapons bay. It is expected to serve on China's new aircraft carriers, forming the backbone of future carrier air wings. Next, electronic warfare aircraft. The J-15DT, an electronic attack variant, was equipped with jamming pods and designed to blind enemy radar and missile systems. It represents China's push into cognitive electronic warfare, where AI drives real-time deception and countermeasures. Wow, pretty impressive, huh? Hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles were prominently featured, underscoring China's ability to deliver ultra-fast, hard-to-intercept strikes. These systems are seen as a strategic deterrent and a challenge to traditional missile defense. Laser and sonar-based systems. Advanced laser weapons and sonar-guided drones were also on display, hinting at capabilities for precision targeting and anti-drone activities. Cognitive warfare integration. The parade emphasized China's shift toward intelligent warfare, integrating AI across domains from cyber operations to battlefield decision making. The display wasn't just about firepower. It was a message. China is rapidly modernizing its military with cutting-edge technology that blends autonomy, speed, and strategic adaptability. You can explore more in-depth coverage from the South China Morning Post, Defense Scoop, and Forbes, and I have some of those articles pulled up in the background, and I am going to tune into some of those articles they mentioned. In fact, let's do so with the first article. This is not one of the three mentioned there, but this is a very key article. I'm going to share this link with you. This is China Dreams Big in the most ambitious Chinese mega projects. This is something completely different. This is mega projects. I'm saving that for the end of the conversation. So let's do this. Let's go into these other articles mentioned. And I'm going to pull up this link right over here. And it's talking about China's war technology. And it was all on parade. This is from Reuters.com. And the headline of the article, China's war technology on parade. I'm going to give you the link to this one as well so you can have access to this. Posting it up on the Rumble and posting it up also on, it'll be on my Facebook page. You'll see today's program there. I'm posting it up here on my Facebook page. I'll post it up there twice. It'll be under the live stream as well as the demo promo that I put up there. And one more time, I'm going to put it over here on Rumble. I do have an audience in Rumble. I do have resident A-hole. He says, you must side with China, brother. They were a huge support in several African liberation struggles in the 60s and 70s, all while building their own prosperity. I cannot disagree with what you're saying. What I am attempting to do is use professional journalism, non-bias in reporting today. I think anyone, including yourself, can easily detect that there is not necessarily a pro-Chinese bias, but there is a bias against Western hegemony. So I'm not going to even attempt to disagree with you. I would just say that when you are in my position reporting on these affairs, you want to appear to be as non-biased as possible. Plus, there are enemies that I really do have to deal with. And if I do show a distinctly Chinese bias in all this, as you suggest, based upon the history, the real history, then my enemies will once again assault me. So bear with me, resident a-hole, and you understand. Straight Godzilla is in the house. TD, great show yet. Great show yet, I think he's saying. Put an S in there. China can produce 10K drones a day and much, much more focus. That's a good point you make. Their capacity for military hardware development rivals that of the United States. And a little bit later, when we start looking at the mega projects, I'm going to ask the question, what other than military capability, what is America building? Are they building mass? Well, wait till you look at the Chinese mega projects. United States still does not even have a high-speed rail line. And China is building rail lines now, maglev rails, to rival airlines. Trains that go as fast as airplanes. That's pretty doggone amazing. Let's keep going forward in our review. Oh, okay. Switched over here. Now we're on this article: China's war technology on parade. Sea drones, laser weapons, and more were unveiled in China's most advanced display of military weaponry yet. See how it stacks up against 2015 and 2019. This article written by Arathi Alakai, Han Huang, and Gray Torade, published September 3rd, 2025. Excuse me, one second. I gotta clear my throat. Okay, sorry about that. China, on Wednesday, staged its first major military parade in 6 years, showcasing progress in its long-running military modernization in weapons ranging from torpedo-like sea drones to long-range missiles. Ahead of the parade, marking the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, Chinese officials said the military was displaying how it could harness technological advances to win future wars. Foreign analysts say they were watching closely to see how effectively China could deter and intimidate not just the United States and its allies, but other rivals too. Again, I'm reading from Reuters News on this article. They talk about the military hardware. This year, China unveiled progress on all fronts, including the vital battle management and communication system it would need to tie all its weaponry together in a conflict. An earlier victory parade in 2015 showcased progress on its nuclear-capable missile arsenal, and another display in 2019 revealed drones among the weaponry on show for the first time. So first they give a breakdown of the 2015 military parade: tanks, armored vehicles, artillery, missiles, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, aircraft, drones, and unmanned vehicles, and other weapons and support items. So 2015, there's a chart. 2019, there's a wonderful, more impressive chart. And 2025 September Victory Parade was undeniably the most impressive military parade ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen one more impressive. And when you compare China's military parade on September 3rd to Donald Trump's birthday parade, it was already a laughable affair, but it's a pitiful affair, really pitiful. I am not saying that to put down the soldiers in the U.S. Armed Forces. They are our brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles. They are our relatives. They do not belong to Donald Trump. And I would say that they are probably more loyal to the rule of the Constitution, the rule of law, than they are to Mr. Trump himself. On the eve of Donald Trump once again deploying military forces, first in Los Angeles, then in D.C., next perhaps in Chicago or Baltimore or Philadelphia or other cities, it's a bad situation and it's getting worse. I'm going to leave the political there. Let's just talk what's new this year. Again, from this article on China's war technology on parade. What's new this year? A closer look at the pieces of equipment making a debut in the recent parade. Number one, nuclear triad. China, for the first time, displayed a full array of nuclear weapons that can be deployed from air, land, and sea. These included an upgraded version of its DF-5C ballistic missile that can strike global targets, an air-launched weapon, and the JL-3, its most modern submarine-launched long-range ballistic missile. The DF-61. Western military analysts are expected to scrutinize the appearance of the DF-61 intercontinental ballistic missile in the months ahead. A new weapon. It is road mobile, like some other advanced Chinese missiles, allowing it to be moved and hidden, making it potentially less vulnerable than traditional nuclear weapons based in silos deep in China's hinterland. The H-61 strategic bomber. The H-6N, I said 6-1, 6N, is a closely watched plane. While based on a Soviet-era design from the early days of the Cold War, it has been effectively rebuilt with more advanced systems to help it carry nuclear weapons and extend its range. H-6s have appeared on China's coast in recent months. It will eventually be replaced with a stealthier heavy bomber. Naval analysts say nuclear-armed this next one, JL-3. Naval analysts say nuclear-armed and powered submarines are the most sensitive element of the strategic triad, ensuring a country has an ability to stage a nuclear counterstrike, even if its land-based weapons were attacked. This is important, particularly important to China's nuclear deterrence, as it has long maintained a, quote, no first use, unquote, nuclear policy. The JL-3 is its most advanced submarine-launched missile, deployed on submarines based on Hainan Island in the South China Sea. Underwater drones. The emergence of undersea drones shaped like torpedoes, some of them large, has surprised some analysts. If produced cheaply on a large scale and operationally effective, these could further add to the challenges faced by China's naval rivals. Questions remain over how they will be deployed. And these are just really long tubes with a short kind of hatch in the back, and it's pretty amazing looking. Laser weapons. China has been developing laser weapons as a defense against drone attacks. The full range of its anti-drone systems on display at the parade included a missile gun, high-energy laser weapons, and high-powered microwave weapons. Some analysts believe laser weapons could be used to take out missiles or even satellites, but they remain under development. Microwaves are a more basic technology, but potentially difficult to deploy, given the impact that they can have on friendly forces and equipment. State media said the weapons on show represented a triad in the People's Liberation Army's anti-drone systems. Hypersonic missiles. The parade featured hypersonic anti-ship missiles that China has previously tested against mock-ups of U.S. aircraft carriers. Those included the YJ-15, YJ-17, YJ-19, and YJ-20. This array includes cruise missiles with hypersonic glide warheads that could be deployed from land, ships, and aircraft, and raise potential risk for U.S. and allied ships in East Asia conflict scenarios. Methodology. Equipment is counted by watching full videos released by China's state-run television CCTV. Vehicles are plotted in order of appearance. Models of equipment are probable but not confirmed. Each is cross-referenced against previous Reuters images on military websites, and in some cases the advice of military analysts. The hardware chart shows military equipment only, with no groups of people included. Cars, jeeps, and motorbikes are also not included. Due to poor visibility, some vehicles may be miscounted. So that was the article, and I hope you found that to be as interesting as I found it to be. China's war technology on parade. Let me go around here and see if anybody's talking to me. I'm looking and I'm not seeing anyone on Rumble. Facebook, is anyone talking to me? I can't tell. Here, 1 second. I can tell by hitting this button on Facebook. And I do see people are in the house, but not necessarily communicating with us this morning. I hope you do find this compelling. I do know we do have people on Rumble, and the Rumble people said what they said, and they're not talking anymore. But you know you're welcome. Can I get you to hit the like button wherever you are, on whatever page, wherever you're doing? Hit the like button. Let the algorithm know that I am not alone, that I am not being ignored. And so I'm going to hit the like button myself, along with a number of others of you. Thanks again. You are so greatly appreciated on your LIB radio network. Continuing, next up, article I have is entitled The Pentagon Report. The Pentagon Report. China's military rise and its implications for the West. This article is written by Emanuela Rosai, R-O-S-A-I, Emanuela Rosai, and here is the article's link. For those of you listening along, following along, let me post this up here for you. And the article, I gave you the title. Now I'm pushing up the link. And that didn't work. Let me do this a second time. I'll have to do it twice with just the hyperlink. Bear with me, it's well worth waiting for, I think. Okay. Copy, go over here, and now I'm going to paste this on Rumble and Facebook one time. Don't have to do it twice, because either you is or you ain't. And here this is what the story says. The Pentagon Report. China's military rise and its implications for the West. This is from China Observers in Central and Eastern Europe. Is a multinational consortium of experts providing informed analysis on the rising influence of the People's Republic of China in Central and Eastern Europe. And at the end of 2024, China showcased its latest military advancements through a series of strategic announcements and calculated leaks, reinforcing its ambitions as a global power. These developments coincided with the release of the Pentagon's annual report on the People's Liberation Army. Going beyond a routine analytical exercise, the report outlines key trends in China's military modernization, from advancements in nuclear and conventional forces to emerging defense technologies and deepening military ties with Russia and Iran, and lays the foundation for U.S. containment strategies, defense planning, and operational responses. Now, that phrase, U.S. containment strategies, from my perspective, that is so aggressive that it's barely short of triggering an armed Chinese response. Containment. As part of that U.S. containment strategies, we've covered this over many, many years here on LIB Radio, even going back to the Falcon Forum. When Brother Keith was with us on the Falcon Forum, he brought up, and I couldn't disagree with it. I don't think anyone disagreed with it, He brought up the fact that the Afghanistan war was an attempt to contain and constrain China. He explained that by stating that China was planning on building a oil pipeline to traverse Afghanistan, an oil pipeline to Iran, and deliver oil from Iran to China without having to put it on naval vessels and sail it all the way through the Gulfs and around India and up into China. Just a simple oil pipeline would allow them to get that oil much cheaper and much easier. So the attempts to contain China have essentially been going on the entire 21st century. Now, you would think that China would be kind of tired of the United States behaving like that. Nonetheless, the belligerence on the part of the United States government has not stopped. I would say, despite the fact that most of the citizens of the United States want peaceful and friendly relations with the people of the People's Republic of China. I feel that way, and I believe others do as well. But it is the other guy, the stranger, the incomplete being, as Dr. Marimba Ani termed him in the book Urugo. The incomplete being wants it all. Let's go forward. This report also underscores the intensifying U.S.-China rivalry, highlighting the broader implications of China's military rise for global security, including Europe. In January 2025, for example, Serbia became the first European country to deploy a Chinese-made missile defense system on its territory, demonstrating how Beijing's technological advancements could influence military landscape beyond Asia, including in the EU's immediate neighborhood. And I will say this much as well. There was much noted of the guests who were prominently featured alongside China's Xi Jinping, of which Serbia was one of two European countries that were there and participating. There was Serbia and Bulgaria. Military modernization. As outlined in the Pentagon's report, China's military modernization reflects a strategic shift toward achieving world-class military status by 2049. World-class military. As a well-known milestone in the PRC's strategic agenda. By 2024, the PLA's nuclear arsenal had already surpassed 600 operational warheads, with projections indicating it will reach over 1,000 warheads by 2030, and if current expansion rates continue, potentially 1,200 by 2035. This is complemented by advances in hypersonic weaponry and intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM systems, enabling Beijing to pose precision strike threats to the U.S. and its allies. The number of operational ICBMs is expected to double by 2030, further enhancing the PLA's strategic deterrence. Conventional forces are also advancing. The PLA Navy, PLAN, is now the world's largest navy by fleet size, boasting over 370 combat vessels, a number projected to reach 435 by 2030. It is anticipated that by 2025, modern multi-mission ships equipped with advanced missile systems and electronic war capabilities will constitute more than 80% of the fleet, a significant leap from the current 70%. Coupled with increasing capabilities for long-range deployments, these advancements extend the PLAN's reach beyond the first island chain, posing a direct challenge to the Indo-Pacific's existing security architecture. Meanwhile, the PLA Air Force, PLAF, and Rocket Force, PLARF, are advancing rapidly in the fields of artificial intelligence, cyber warfare, and space technologies, positioning China as a competitor in domains traditionally dominated by the West. The article then goes to talk about partnerships with Russia and China. China's growing military cooperation with Russia and Iran. I said China. The article goes on to talk about partnerships with Russia and Iran. China's growing military cooperation with Russia and Iran add another layer to its military strategy and U.S. assessments. Despite its uneasy role, the collaboration includes joint military exercises, arms transfer, and potential intelligence sharing, forming a key part of China's effort to counter Western influence. The Pentagon's report states that, quote, China and Russia have significantly expanded their joint military training programs, strengthening their ability to operate in tandem across multiple domains, including missile defense, cyber operations, and electronic warfare, close quote. Indeed, over the past 2 years, China and Russia have dramatically increased their joint military activities, conducting over 20 joint drills in strategic areas such as the East China Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and even the airspace near Alaska. These exercises demonstrate the growing interoperability between the two militaries, reinforcing their ability to coordinate across multiple domains, including naval, aerial, and electronic. This mirrors NATO-style interoperability training, ensuring Chinese forces can seamlessly cooperate with their Russian counterparts in high-intensity conflict scenarios. At the same time, the exercises also serve as a testing ground for China's military advancements, allowing the People's Liberation Army to refine its operational effectiveness by integrating advanced missile defense systems, cyber warfare attacks, or cyber warfare tactics, and precision strike capabilities. For several years, Iran has also participated in naval exercises with China and Russia in the Western Indian Ocean under the so-called Maritime Security Belt Initiative, which started in 2019, adding a new dimension to Beijing's military diplomacy. The exercises enhance interoperability among the three countries and extend their strategic presence in regions like Eastern Asia, or Western Asia, not Western Asia. It's here it says Middle East. I don't use that term. Western Asia and Central Asia, where China's presence is increasingly pronounced. The Pentagon's report also notes that, quote, Iran provides China with access to advanced drone and missile technologies, which Beijing integrates into its defense modernization programs, close quote. These developments illustrate how Beijing actively fosters military partnerships that could reshape global security dynamics. The Pentagon assesses that, quote, China's engagement with Russia and Iran is not merely transactional, but reflects a strategic vision aimed at undermining U.S. military influence and reshaping the global security order to align with Beijing's interests, unquote. This next section, very important, challenging the U.S. naval and aerial power. The PLA also conducts unilateral military exercises to assess the readiness and effectiveness of its own forces. Recent media reports that Beijing has conducted a high-tech simulation of a surprise U.S. missile attack on a PLA carrier group in the South China Sea. The exercise, aimed at testing China's ability to counter such attacks, suggests that Beijing is preparing for scenarios involving stealth long-range missiles, such as the U.S. AGM-158C long-range anti-ship missile, LRASM, with a focus on overcoming these threats through electronic warfare and advanced detection systems. This underscores a critical aspect of China's strategic thinking, the need to counter the technological edge of the U.S. and its allies in a potential naval conflict. The PLA Navy's expansion, alongside the advancements in missile defense and electronic warfare, aims to solidify China's control over contested waters and challenge U.S. maritime superiority. The report details advancement in China's anti-ship and area denial capabilities, area denial capabilities, including the YJ-21 hypersonic missile launched from Type 055 cruisers. China's advancement in stealth aircraft further underscores its military ambitions, including its efforts to challenge U.S. air superiority. At the end of December 2024, images of two new next-gen stealth aircraft projects surfaced. The J-35 stealth fighter, designed for carrier operations, and the H-20 stealth bomber, expected to enhance the PLA Air Force's intercontinental strike capabilities and reinforce its nuclear deterrence. These advancements align with the Pentagon's assessment, which highlights China's refinement of its fifth generation fighter fleet and next-gen aircraft with improved low observability, enhanced avionics, and greater operational range. And those two fighters, the J-35, China's J-35, as well as its H-20, are both clones or copies to a large extent of the U.S. F-35 and the U.S.'s stealth bomber, the 21 model of the U.S. stealth bomber series. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. And we really, on one hand, people are saying, well, China is just cloning these things in look only. But beyond the look, China, they have to have avionics systems. They have to have some bomber capabilities. So the thing about it is China is innovating so rapidly with such precision across a very wide scope that eventually all of it adds together into the fact that there's just no way in the world the United States could ever think about engaging China in military warfare. And it's moving so fast. From my understanding, China's President Xi Jinping has told the Chinese People's Liberation Army to prepare for retaking its sovereign land in Taiwan by 2027. Going forward, military-civil fusion. Central to China's military modernization is its military-civil fusion MCF strategy, which, according to the Pentagon's report, fuses security and development systems into integrated national strategic system and capabilities, INSS and C, in support of the PRC's national rejuvenation goals. In other words, the MCF, military civil fusion, integrates civilian technological advancements into military applications, allowing Beijing to systematically leverage academic, private sector, and other research institutions, often without their full knowledge, to advance its military capabilities, especially in emerging fields like AI, quantum computing, and aerospace. In response, Washington recently published a list of 134 Chinese companies, including major firms in aerospace, information technology, and chemical engineering, that it believes are contributing to the PLA's military buildup. These include tech giants like Huawei, Tencent, and CATL, as well as the world's largest shipping company, Costco, and Chinese National Offshore Oil Company. This reflects Washington's efforts to curb Chinese access to cutting-edge technologies with dual-use applications and counter its long-term strategy of technological accumulation, central to Beijing's ambitions of achieving military superiority by 2049. Military superiority by 2049. Now, understanding 2049 might seem a long ways away. That's 24 years. That's the span between the beginning of this year and the beginning of this century. As a person who has experienced the beginning of the century and the beginning of this year, at age 70 years old, next couple of weeks, that's not a long time. By 2049, China expects to achieve military superiority. That's very important. While inclusion on the list does not automatically result in sanctions, it signals an intent to restrict cooperation between these firms and U.S. entities. I'm going to close with one more brief paragraph. It does talk about China's expanding arms exports. Very important. As of 2023, the PRC is the fourth largest arms supplier in the world, sells nearly every category of conventional military equipment, including UAVs, manned pads, submarines, naval surface vessels, SAM systems, and fighter aircraft to customers worldwide. And lastly, implications for global security. China's military rise, combined with the deepening China-Russia-Iran military nexus, has broad geopolitical consequences. The increasing sophistication of China's armed forces enhances its ability to project power into regions of strategic importance, including Venezuela, as right now the U.S. has sent a flotilla of naval vessels into the northern or into the eastern Caribbean region with the idea that it is targeting Venezuela. This is getting real serious. While investments in cyber and gray zone operations allow China to achieve strategic objectives without traditional military confrontation. The Pentagon's report highlights the urgency for global access to adapt to this evolving threat landscape. For the U.S. and EU, countering China's military modernization requires sustained strategic vigilance, proactive security and defense policies, and strengthened alliances to navigate the shifting power dynamics. And into all of that is thrown the personality of Donald Trump. I do have the Pentagon's report here. I'm going to copy that link address and share it with you if anybody's interested. The Pentagon's address, the Pentagon's report. And paste that in there. copy. And now you on my YouTube page have access to it. And I'm going to post it up for Rumble as well, and on my Facebook page. So there it is on Facebook. And once again, put it in today's article on Facebook. And lastly, post it on my Rumble page, where Nguvu has just joined the conversation. Welcome, Nguvu. I hope you do find this great. He says, Sawubona, China is outperforming the world. And I think you are 100% correct, my dear brother. And what is it going to mean in the long run? Well, time will tell, won't it? Time will certainly tell. So I'm going to read one more article, and this other article is not on China's military technology. This deals with, this next article deals with China's, and here, bear with me here. Okay, this deals with China's mega projects, another critical, important part of what we're dealing with. And this, I have a couple of other articles up. I'm not going to read them. This is the most ambitious mega projects in the world. In fact, I have this article. I pulled from it. I excerpted from it here just briefly. Let me give you the introduction, then I'll go to the excerpts. China's dreams in big, the most ambitious Chinese mega projects of the 21st century. China has a long history with engineering projects and infrastructure investments. Only in the first quarter 2023, more than 10,000 construction projects were launched in the country, reaching a combined investment of 7 trillion renminbi, or Chinese yuan. From colossal power plants to bullet trains and bridges almost as tall as 2 Eiffel Towers. Since the early 2000s, the Chinese government started to finance these mega projects. The purposes of these ambitious endeavors were both to boost the economy and to provide people with the latest, most technological advanced facilities, as well as offering an ever-increasing number of jobs. Donald Trump purports to be bringing similar development to the United States, except for from where I stand, it's hard for me to see the United States really competing against these other mega projects. This is getting deep. I'm going to read what I excerpted from them from this page. China dreams big, the most ambitious Chinese mega projects of the 21st century. This article is from Docs Consulting. I'm going to copy, cut, and paste this for my listening audience on YouTube. There you are. I'm going to copy, cut, and paste this for my audience on Facebook and Rumble. So here it is for the Rumble audience, and lastly for my Facebook audience. And let me do it this way. That didn't do well on Rumble. I'm going to copy, paste this. Why is it not? If you want it, you can find it. It gets a little frustrating around here dealing with these links. And then the fact is that sometimes I put up these links knowing good and well y'all not gonna click on them. So here is the next article up here. Let me do this. I can just ever so quickly give you just part of this. There we go. And it's going to go on Rumble. And right here, There it is. Okay, I got it up. Let's read from this article, and this is going to close out the story for today. I'm going to read my excerpts from that article. Bei Panjijang Bridge. Bei Panjijang Bridge. Opened in 2016, the Bei Panjijang Bridge, also known as the Doge Bridge, named after the nearby village where construction began, still holds the title of the world's highest bridge. This architectural marvel spans between Guizhou and Yunnan regions and consists in a 1.3 kilometer four-laned highway, which is part of the long route connecting the city of Hangzhou near Shanghai to Myanmar on Tibet's side, on Tibet's border. Number 2, Zhong'an New Area. The Zhong'an New Area is a new city situated 100 kilometers south of Beijing. It would be an enormous eco-friendly complex created to lower the problem of Beijing traffic. Designed to become the center of the Jijinji region, the Zhong'an New Area is envisioned as a sustainable and futuristic urban development. And that's 100 miles or kilometers south of Beijing, 60 miles. That's pretty interesting. Kaila Power Station, the world's largest hydro photovoltaic power station, following the objective of the world's carbon neutrality in 2060. In 2022, China began the construction of the Kaila Power Station, a 16 million square meters hydroelectric power station situated in the region of Sichuan. The project started to take life in 2016 when it was launched by the Design and Research Institute of Power China, Chengdu, while construction work officially commenced in 2022. Next, bullet train CR450, the fastest train in the world. On the 14th five-year plan from 2021 to 2025, the China Railway 450 CR450 Innovation Project was announced. The train was expected to have a cruise speed of 400 kilometers per hour and an experimental speed of 450 kilometers per hour. However, between June 28 and 29, 2013, some tests were made in the Fujian province, where the train reached a top speed of 453 kilometers per hour, more than a 100 kilometer per hour faster than the record of the previous fastest train in China. Wow, pretty amazing. U.S. had no super high-speed trains, and in fact, they're attempting to build one or two in the western part of the United States. But the problem is the greedy land speculators. The greedy land speculators drive the price up, and it really hasn't even begun. They're driving the price up every year by tens of billions of dollars. Incredible. FAST radio telescope. As of 2023, the FAST radio telescope is the biggest single-dish radioscope in the world. FAST is an acronym which stands for 500-meter aperture spherical radio telescope. And the building is situated in the Guizhou region. The constructions began in 2011, and only 5 years later, it was already operational. Shanghai Metro Line 11. With a length of 82.4 kilometers, the Shanghai Metro Line 11 is the world's longest metro line, as well as the first metro line to ever cross city borders. The journey starts from Suzhou and ends up melting in the complex net of metro lines in Shanghai. with its terminal situated near Shanghai Disneyland Resort. This Chinese mega project started in August 2018 when the National Development and Reform Commission approved its construction. While the official tests without passenger have started at the beginning of March 2023, the most positive aspect about building such a long metro line is its flexibility. Even because the only way to travel from Suzhou to Shanghai was by high-speed train, which follows very tight schedules. The Taihu Tunnel. These are all Chinese mega projects. Measuring 10.79 kilometers long, Taihu Tunnel is the world's longest underwater tunnel. The project composes of a 6-lane highway which goes underneath Lake Taihu, located at just 50 kilometers east of Shanghai, and connects the cities of Shanghai and Nanjing. The tunnel's construction began in 2018 and cost approximately 9.9 billion renminbi. 3 years and 2 million cubic meters of concrete later, in December 2021, it was finally opened to the public. Now, I'm a little confused here. It says this is the longest tunnel in the world, but I don't know if that's true. I want to double check right now. I'm going to do a search, compare the length of the Taihu Tunnel to the English Channel Tunnel. And I put that in. Yeah, this is not the longest tunnel, the world's longest underwater tunnel. The Taihu Tunnel is 10.79 kilometers, 6.65 miles long, while the English Channel Tunnel, the Channel Tunnel, is 37.9 kilometers long, 23.1 miles. Therefore, the Channel Tunnel is significantly longer than the Taihu Tunnel. And this is why we like to confirm things around here. So let me put this in brackets and let them know that that statement that this tunnel in China is not true. That is the longest underwater tunnel. Next, China's space station. China's space station, known as Tiananmen, is a significant achievement in the country's space exploration efforts. Launched in April 2021, the station is designed to be modular, consisting of a core model named Tianhe and 2 laboratory models, Tian and Tian, which were added in July and October 2022, respectively. Tiangong is intended to supply a variety of scientific research, including experiments in biology, physics, and materials science in a microgravity environment. The station can accommodate 3 astronauts for long-duration missions with the capability to expand to 6 during crew changeovers. China aims to keep Tiangong operational for at least 10 years, with plans for continuous upgrades and expansions. The station represents a significant step in China's ambitions to become a major player in space exploration, showcasing its technological advancements and commitment to international collaboration in space science. As of September 2025, Tiangong continues to host various scientific missions and international partnerships, contributing to our understanding of space and the potential for future exploration. So on that note, I'm going to begin to wrap it up, but we have to put this in context because this is a Pan-African analysis today, Pan-African perspective. So from the position of Pan-African perspective, we have to say unequivocally, China as a good friend to all of the African continent since the days of apartheid, and with the development of socialist governments in numerous African countries under the socialist government under Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, Kenneth Kaunda, and others, China has been a good friend to Africa. Africa is home to one Chinese overseas base. I think it's China's only overseas military base, and that is in Djibouti. Djibouti also is host of French, British, and American military bases, and I think the Russians have a presence there as well. I may be wrong. But recognizing China is not aggressive to African nations. There are cases where Chinese people have been very aggressive, very racist in their behavior. But when called out, those people are generally, they're deported, and the Chinese government frowns upon Chinese migrants being mean to African people in their own countries. There will be on occasion problems. In Zambia, where Chinese first opened its African operations back in, I think it was 1975, with a operation of a copper mine, there were big problems in relations between the Chinese supervisors and the African workers in that copper mine. There was numerous strikes, and they came to blows a couple times. Yes, they did. But they were able to work it out, and China, realizing the value of access to Africa's rare minerals and rare earth items, was not going to be able to sustain that over a long term by being unfriendly to its African partners. So from a distinctly Pan-African perspective, everything I talked about today that shows modernization of Chinese weaponry and military capabilities is actually looked at as positive from the perspective of most, but not all, African governments. Most, but not all. So I'm reminded of the statement from Nelson Mandela when he was badgered by Ted Koppel, and there was one other news media who badgered Nelson Mandela. I think he was from CBS. I can't remember the name right now. His face looks familiar, but I can't remember his name. But they badgered Nelson Mandela for being friendly with Cuba, being friendly with Russia and China. And Nelson Mandela said he didn't even bring up the fact that it was the CIA that turned him in when he was actively engaging in fighting against apartheid government. But Nelson Mandela kind of smacked them both down very, very directly in telling them, who are you to tell us who and who not to be friends with? And he reminded them that during the deepest part of the anti-apartheid struggle, for which he himself suffered 27 years of imprisonment at Robbins Island, he said during that time, all of these countries stepped forward and were our friends. They fought shoulder to shoulder in a battle against the South African Expeditionary Force at Quito Carnaval in Angola. So, all of that to say this, we must have an awareness, we must remember, but at the same time, African people must learn the critical lesson to learn from China: do for yourself. Do for yourself. Take it one step at a time. Never stop progressing. I will say to African leadership, stop fooling around with imitating the petty bourgeoisie consumerism of the West. Stop that. Stop it. Stop these fringe deals, this flightiness, where you sell out, ultimately end up selling out your people for a few shekels, small bag of silver or gold, shiny cars, and giving away so much of your continents in the future. Maybe tomorrow we'll talk about this wealth export out of Africa and how Africa is empowering everyone else around the world while Africa is being largely drained. And we can do better than that. So on that note, there's a lot going on. I see in the news headline, Venezuela orders 25,000 troops to the Colombia border after Donald Trump accuses Caracas of ties to drug cartels. In response, Venezuela is growing ever closer to China and other members of the BRICS community. Everything I talked about today could get real crazy real fast. It could get real crazy real fast. And to make it worse, the head of the U.S. government at this time, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, is Donald Trump. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. You've been tuned into your favorite. I did write a book which is directly related to what we are talking about today. The book is entitled, that's not the title. The title of the book is Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. Disaster Preparedness World War is real close. This book, I explain what is going to be a battle. I predict the battle between NATO versus BRICS, and according to my analysis, it has already begun. Here's what I wrote about the Venezuela-U.S. rivalry. Joining the BRICS bloc could offer several significant potential advantages for Venezuela and the group. These include, but are not limited to, economic support. Membership could provide access to new markets and investment opportunities, helping to stimulate Venezuela's economy. Diversification of partnerships would allow Venezuela to diversify its international relations and reduce dependency on Western countries, particularly in trade and diplomacy. Number 3, increased trade opportunities. Membership in BRICS could facilitate trade agreements with member countries, enhancing exports and imports. Access to developmental funds, political alliances, and advantages of the Venezuela Partnership for BRICS would say increase influence, resource access, diverse perspectives, strengthen South-South cooperation. And then I go to talk about the clash of civilizations and in concept. Just 2 paragraphs. The concept of the clash of civilization by Samuel P. Huntington identifies potential sources of conflict based upon cultural and civilizational differences. While considering the possible frontiers of open conflict between the NATO Western Bloc and the BRICS bloc of nations, several fault lines might emerge over the coming decades. The South China Sea, we see it. India-Pakistan relations, we see that. Energy resources, Middle East and North Africa, and Venezuela. As a member of BRICS Plus, Venezuela's resources could become a contention, particularly if NATO seeks to influence Venezuela's political landscape. And we can see that Donald Trump is now doing his crazy thing. Thank you for tuning in today. You've been tuned into LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com. You can get the book, Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6. Do get the book. Look for my books at Get My Books. Disaster Preparedness at http://keidi.biz CRP 2012. And I thank you all for all you do, for all of us, for being here today, for being prepared to do the right thing, and doing the best that we can to project ourselves forward into a never-ending future. We can do this. We can do whatever we will to do. But you know something? We got to do something. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and on livinginblack.com.